When talking to customers about using the C80 and C400, one thing which comes up time and time again, especially with people switching from Sony, is false color. Many people still don't use it as a regular part of their workflow, especially people used to Sony cameras, because they don't have false color in camera. False color is the main, often only, tool which we use for exposure when using the C80 and C400. It is a big step up over using zebras or histograms, even better than waveforms in some situations. So let's go over why that is and how we recommend using false color to set your exposure really quickly. So, for those of you who aren't familiar already with false color, the concept is very simple. It's designed to be toggled on and off quickly and lays bright, bold colors over your image at certain brightness levels. Now, there's no fixed standard for what these colors are and where they sit. So, make sure you look into how it's working on the specific product which you're using. This is the false color index, which tells you what's going on. This is Canon's system, which I don't believe they change. If your Canon camera has false color in it, it should be these values and these colors. You can basically group this guide into three. Red and yellow mean overexposure, purple and blue mean underexposure, and pink and green are middle exposure, and that's what we're looking for. So, how do you use this when you're working? Well, the first way is to really quickly judge if you are over or underexposed when you're out and about working quickly. After a bit of practice, you can just toggle it on and off and be able to see if you have any problems within seconds. If you see red or yellow, back that exposure off a bit. But if you see blue or purple, you might want to raise it up depending on what your shot is. Sometimes you do want a little bit in your dark areas. And if your whole image is just a sea of pink and green and gray, you're going to be fine. When working quickly, it can be just as simple as that. The second way is for skin tones. Now this is where those middle exposure colors are really useful. Green is 18% gray and pink is one stop over 18% gray. Now these are where your skin tones want to live. There are a few things to keep in mind here though. Firstly, the obvious one. Not everyone's skin tone is the same brightness. Yes, you get different nationalities and racial differences, but even within the same nationality, people are different tones. So you always need to keep that in mind. You need to judge your exposure and where you want it depending on the person that you're interviewing and their unique skin tone in real life. The other thing to keep in mind is lighting. Very rarely are you lighting your subject with flat light, making their entire face the same brightness level. If I light a little bit more dynamically, like I am here, then there's a big difference between the brighter parts of my face and the darker parts. So advice that you might find online, like just put your skin tones at 70 IRE or just put them one stop over, they become a bit confusing. You know, we know that the pink color means one stop over. But do I want that on the brightest parts of my face, the darkest, or perhaps somewhere in the middle? It's not like the whole face just turns pink with false color on. The correct way to do this is to use a color checker like this one, or an 18% gray card, because green on the false color is 18% gray. Pop this color checker where your subject is, expose until the gray strip turns green, and there you go. Now, it doesn't matter what kind of skin tone your subject has, they're going to look about right. You can still use false color without a color checker though. For me, for my skin and for these pista cameras, we like to have the main part of my face that is lit and the key light is hitting directly be slightly more than one stop over 18% gray. So when we set up a pista camera, we light the background to eye however we like creatively, then we get the key light in place and then we adjust the brightness of the key light until that the lit side of my face is mostly covered in pink and then just go that little bit further. We do this for every pista camera which we film, and that way I look consistent from one video to the next. Now for Ben, we have a very different rule. One stop over 18% grey would be far too bright for his skin tone. This is what it would look like if we just treated exposure the exact same way for him as we do for me. For Ben, instead, we like to have the lit side of his face sit at 18% grey. So we don't want any pink false colour anymore. We want the majority of the lit sections of his skin to be green. This is a process which we've been doing for every single piece to camera which we film here for the last few years. Whether it's long form for our YouTube channel, short form for our social media, it doesn't matter. It really helps give consistency across all of them. And this has dramatically improved the way that these videos look compared to a few years ago when we were just guessing by eye from video to video. The next thing to understand is that because this false color is built into the cameras, it's using the actual sensor information for exposure and adjusting automatically for each picture profile or log mode which you're in. You don't need to worry about any of that, whether you have a LUT enabled or anything. Watch what happens as we go through these log modes and enable the false color. The false color tells us the exact same thing, no matter whether we're in log or YDR or if we've got a lookup table applied. Lots of monitors have false color built into them. That's probably the most common way of using false color on an external monitor. But the problem with that is that the monitor only knows about the signal that it's being sent. And this is fine, but you do need to pay attention more. You need to keep in mind what format your camera is in. Is there any gamma shift going over the HDMI or SDI cable? Do you have a LUT applied? Questions like that. Because all of that is going to affect what the false color is telling you. As long as you're paying attention, you're going to be fine. But this is all much easier when it's done in camera, like here on the C80 and C400. Another really important part of all of this is how the feature is integrated into the camera. Canon lets you put false color onto any of their assignable buttons, and because it is such an important part of our workflow, we like to have it right here next to the record button on button 10. This makes it so easy and convenient to quickly toggle on and off before each clip, even when handheld. You can customize also what outputs this affects. You can choose from false color being displayed on everything, just the camera screen, the SDI or the HDMI port. So in our situation here, we just want false color showing on everything, both the camera screen and our big wireless monitor, so that we can all see what's going on no matter where we are in the room. But if you're working with clients, you'll want to quickly toggle false color on and off on the camera's LCD or on your on-camera monitor while leaving your client monitor showing a normal image. It's very useful to be able to customize like this. All of this can be done through the menus normally as well if you don't want to use an assignable button for it. So what makes this so useful isn't just that Canon actually have false color in their cameras, it's that they've added these extra touches to make sure that it's a practical tool which helps you out as a camera operator and helps you work at your best and adapt to the situations that you happen to find yourself in. Once you learn how to use it, it gets out of your way and just lets you focus on your work. It's also worth mentioning that we've been talking about the C80 and C400 in this video, but it's also in lots of their other cameras, the C300 Mark III, C500 Mark II, C70, R5C, even the R5 Mark II and R6 Mark II have the same false color system inside, despite using the photography UI and menu system. If you have any questions, just let us know in the comment section. Make sure you subscribe for more videos and tips like this. And if you want to buy any of those Canon cameras for yourself, of course, just head over to Pro. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.